the bar, come on and pull up a seat and open up your Bible. What a wonderful feast. The living bread, and we're discussing what it means for the streets, the inner cities, and the burbs, and every person we meet. That's where we challenge worldviews that we hear from world news. In light of the scripture, yo, we are here to serve you. We're your source for resources to help you on your way as you battle mean forces. Yo, this is for the people who can see the importance of sound theology and the scripture that support it. Yeah, this is for the truth lovers, biblically reforming, preaching Christ to the nations. Yeah, the nations. Welcome to the modern Reformation. Yeah.
Welcome everybody to the bar. It's your boy Dawain in the building, right back in here. Another Tuesday. Can't say I'm super consistent like I used to be, but you know, we're here when we can be. Coming to you, man, with another episode. Bring my brother Greg. I'm gonna say Greg and George back. My bad. I had GL in my head, man. My bad. Bring my brother George back, man. You know, we've connected as of recent. Lot of similarities, a lot of background, you know, and we actually have a really cool topic, man. But before we jump into it, G, man, I'm gonna get you to reintroduce yourself to my audience. You was on here the first time, but we're gonna talk about something this time, man. So I'm gonna give you the opportunity to do that right here.
Yes, sir. So my name is George Sisson. I am the author of Confessional Fitness, primer on killing sin, building strength, and redeeming the table. It's a primer on how the 1689 Confession and Orthodox Christianity inform your health and fitness. And I'm a personal trainer as well. I got a few clients. Confessional Fitness is the name of the game. And now, my man, like, this is a little bit different. I got some merch I can wear now on the show. So we got the Pillar Snapback up here. I got the trucker. I got the Confessional trucker up here. And right now I'm wearing the oversized premium pump cover from Confessional Fitness. I got Soli Deo Gloria on that side. I got scripture on the right arm because the scripture is the right hand of the Lord. And I got the three sayings on the back right up here. So we're in it now, man. We're cruising. We're cruising right along.
I got you, man. I love to see it. Love to see, you know, just taking something and going with it. Everybody know, man, you know, when I started this several years ago, you know, I always tell people that nobody came to my rescue. Nobody helped me. And so I took that and made sure that anytime someone needed something, anytime somebody had questions, I was ready and available to answer. And so I see what you're doing, and it reminds me so much of what I've done and what I'm continuing to do, man, just in different spaces and places, man. But today we're going to talk about something that is taking over the world by storm, one flyer at a time. We're going to talk about AI, man, artificial intelligence. When it comes to the church, when it comes to ministry, when it comes to preaching, when it comes to apologetics, when it comes to flyers, when it comes to books, when it comes to PDFs, when it comes to ebooks, man. I mean, we can't cover everything, but you know, you brought up the topic, man, and those that know me know I try to stay on the wave, ahead of the curve, all those things, man. So I thought it was a dynamic thing to talk about it, man. So let's kind of jump in, bro. Like what was the passion behind, and let's kind of have a conversation about why we want to talk about this topic or why we think it's important.
Yeah, man. You know, a couple of years ago, back in 2024, open chat, open AI kind of popped on the scene. And I was at first, you know, no, it's a no go. We're not going to go there. We're not going to do it. And then I tried ChatGPT out for the first time, and I was astounded about how fast I got answers. And so I've been using AI in varying degrees for the last 2 years. I used AI to help write my book. Now I want to make this extraordinarily clear. AI did not write my book. Okay. AI cannot define monergistic sanctification. It cannot define general revelation versus special revelation, natural law, all that other stuff. AI can't do that. All right. Theology is for human beings. But it's very hard for me to write. It's very hard for me to get things down in a cohesive way. I used a lot of speech to text. I had a lot of Google Notes that I did, and AI was basically my ghostwriter. It helped me formulate, not formulate, but organize my thoughts into a cohesive way. But I gotta be honest with you, man. There's some people that I know. I don't think they're going to touch my book because I used AI to help me write it. And I don't know, man. That seems a little too far for me. And, last time I was on, you were like, hey, let's collab on something. I'm like, all right, bet. So let's go ahead and do the most controversial topic in the reform space today. We're going to talk about artificial intelligence.
Nah, man. I'm not afraid of controversy. I started a Facebook page called Be Not Deceived several years ago that all we did was argue and correct people and beat our chests. So done that so many times. I find it interesting that the thing that I guess they claim that's since it's AI helping you organize, because every writer I know, and I know some prolific writers. I mean, I know Daryl Harrison and Virgil Walker personally. And when they wrote their books, it went through an editing process. It went through an organization process. For those guys, just because front row seat to that, they use their manuscripts from the podcast. Like, they were so detailed in their notes for the podcast. That's how they created a lot of their books. You know what I mean? Like, but it's no different than it's still their idea, their thought, but they send it to an editor, they send it to whoever helps with the publishing, and that part is the part that AI is doing or did for you. It's no different. It's just, as opposed to a human doing it, it's a computer organizing it, in that way, man. And that's why I don't understand where the hiccup or where the problem is. I definitely can see when someone like just straight up, a copy paste. I can see that all day. Hey, you got a problem with that? That's fine. There's plenty of people that's doing that, but with your work specifically is where I don't understand the standoffish aspect of it, just because of it's more of an organization, is more of a putting things together. Because even, I mean, I'm sorry to rant a little bit, but even when my Word of Faith charismatic days, those pastors, they would take sermons. Like, it would either be a sermon that they took the audio from and started book, chapter, verse somebody else wrote. I mean, not saying it was not deep theologically. Don't come at me. But the same tools that weren't available for regular people, chat and AI made it available for regular people so that we could do the exact same thing, man. So I know it was kind of all over the place, but there's so many directions we can go, man. But I definitely wanted to kind of bring up how it's used as a tool and not as a creative thing or whatever.
Yeah, and the thing with it too is, like, I'm particularly blessed because you read my book and you were able to glean stuff from it, and we've had you have birthed stuff from that, where I can't begin to tell you how much of a blessing it is to know that the Lord's working through that. But even when I used artificial intelligence, the book writing still took me a year and a half. Right, the guy that wrote the foreword, Pastor Mel McGinnis, longtime minister, decades long. I had him go through my book. I needed him to check my theology. Like, I trusted him to check my theology. I hooked up with global book publishers. They're the ones that actually published and sent me back the finished package. So I didn't just go through AI, spit something out on Amazon Kindle publishing, and just went with it. I had theological eyes take a look at it. I had professional eyes take a look at it. I'm not sitting here saying, like, oh yeah, AI did all the work. AI was one tool in my various tool bag that I had at my disposal. And what I see happening in the reformed world, and not just with AI, I see this happen a lot with new stuff. We almost have an aversion to new things. If it's new, it's bad. And I kind of feel like that's the vein and the vibe that I get, especially on reformed social media, whether it be X or Facebook or Instagram. And then give it a couple years, we realize it's not so bad, and then everyone hops on the train. So there was a couple of years ago, and this whole thing pops off. I'm not on Reformed X or Reformed Twitter. I think that's probably a good thing that I'm not on Reformed Twitter. I still call it Reformed Twitter. That's how far removed I am from it. But I hear things, I see things, and sometimes that leaks over into Facebook. But I remember seeing, AI is soulless. AI is it's disingenuous. It's fake. It's not real. And I'm just like, if it has truth in it, it's just a machine. It's ChatGPT is an amoral existence. It can be used for great evil. It can be used for great good. I think of it like this. I think about the Gutenberg printing press back during the Reformation, right? So Martin Luther writes his 95 Theses. What would have been the attitude if they saw the Gutenberg printing press and said, "Ooh, that's new. We don't want to touch that. That will make the 95 Theses disingenuous." That wasn't their thought at all. They were like, "We have this wonderful tool where we can mass produce this thing," and the Reformation caught off like fire. So
Yeah.
that's just my 2 cents on that.
No, but here's the thing. I can almost promise you there was somebody during Martin Luther's time that said that was a bad thing. I can almost promise you, bro. Somebody thought it was a bad idea. Somebody thought it was the devil incarnate and all that. I promise you, dog. Like since the beginning of time, bro. Like haters gonna hate. Like that's just the way it goes. So I'm just glad he didn't.
Well, and I have some friends that are very good. I have friends that are good writers, and I have friends that are great graphic designers. They don't really like ChatGPT. They don't like ChatGPT because it can do what they can do for $20 a month. Kind of.
Somewhat.
And
It does enough. It does enough where you don't want to spend the money, and that's where the AI flyers come from. Like it's not everybody knows that they're not great, and everybody knows they all look the same and they all got the same little whatever markings, but it gets the job done. Like we already had, like I come from the era where you already had like to convince people to use creatives. Like you always had to sell, that you can make graphics, make websites, make these things. You always had to sell that, but now it's like, like you said, $20 a month, I can put my picture and type in so it's a shift or transition. And I know a copywriter personally, like my friend Michael, he's a copywriter. Like that's what he used to do for companies. And that was becoming obsolete, unfortunately, because of just the way that it moves. But I want to say this because although you did your due diligence and you did your thing with your book, I'm straight up, y'all. I didn't go that deep. I had my idea. I I put it in there. It gave me something. I read through it. I had my man Virgil check it out. We kind of tweaked a few things here and there. And hey, ebook ready. You know what I'm saying? Like that's and same thing with the devotion. Like it's gonna be in Amazon. Like and that's just I've always been surface level. I always tell people the bar is the entry drug for Reformed theology. Like I'm not going to be that. You will never hear or see anything super deep from me, man. Because that's just I always relate to surface level. So same thing with my content, man. So I want people to understand, man. It's a tool. Don't knock it. Gary Vaynerchuk said that, chat is going to be just like email was. The guy that didn't want to, he didn't want to use email. He wanted, let me continue to write letters. And eventually, he's obsolete. Same thing with chat, like same thing with AI. It's here and I can't see it really going nowhere. And I really want people to understand that, with anything, people are going to take advantage. People are going to be lazy. People are going to do lazy stuff. That we can almost guarantee that. But don't assume when people use it as a tool properly, do their due diligence, that they're less than, because it's still a process. I told you, you don't sit down and write out every single word and then get it published without somebody looking over it, without somebody organize it, you don't do that. So Don't. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so so in that vein, so I listened to Room for Nuance with Sean DeMar, and he had some really great guys on there. And he was interviewing a guy about the book he just wrote. And Sean's like, yeah, you wrote this. And he goes, I did? Because the publisher's got a hold of it. The editor's got a hold of it.
Yep.
And so here's the deal. Like, Dwayne, tell me the difference, brother. Tell me the difference.
There's no difference.
There is no difference.
No.
Like, as long as for people in the Reformed community, and even not in the Reformed community, and I'll tell you, like, I'll share with the people what I'm working on right now for my own church, but also for other people. If you can articulate it, if you can defend it, and you can verify it, bro, go for it.
Yeah,
go for
100%.
it.
100%. Don't feel held or bound because you didn't pull out the quill and the oil, and you know what I'm saying. Don't feel held and bound, man. And listen, so I actually have right here, and I have to ask Marcy what was her process. Marcy, big shout out to Marcy with the Thankful Homemaker.
Yep.
Marcy, big shout out to Marcy, man. Just a quick second. Marcy was a small podcast, barely did any episodes, and I reached out to her. I said, hey, you got something here, Marcy. Let's keep growing it. And fast forward, she actually got an actual book deal. People reached out to her, paid her in advance to write this book, and it's available right now on Amazon. But Marcy, I'm sure she wrote every word of that. Besides, because she's just that diligent. Yeah,
nothing happens quietly, and nothing matters.
Yeah, bro. I promise you, bro. Like she's that thorough. But it'd be funny if she heard this and be like, well, I use AI on this chapter. I would definitely chuckle, but I would definitely never rat her out. But there's no shame in it, though. Think about it. That's what we just talked about. It's a tool. Like, it's something that you can use to, and everything we do is for the glorification of God, man. And so if it's something you can use to move the word forward, move the gospel forward, spread his word better, why not use it? It's just like the internet. It's just like streaming, all these tools. They're all tools, man. But I guess, you know what? Let's talk about this real quick before we kind of get ready to change this. I see you got something on your mind. Hold it. Don't forget it. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. And it might be what you think. What about because we're in the Reform world, there's a plagiarism line place thing somewhere. So what do we address that, man? Like, that's I don't know. Like, my mind just went 100 different ways. But go ahead. What you got?
So we all know the John Piper sermon, Genesis 50:20, what God meant for evil. I mean, not God. Gosh, Dwayne. Joseph talking to his brothers, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. Don't let anyone tell you that it's used. Like, we all, like, anyone in the Reformed community, anyone who's ever watched American Gospel knows that line. Brother, I used that line in a sermon last Sunday. Like,
yeah,
not because I thought of John Piper, but because that is so ingrained in my mind. I was preaching out of Psalm 142. David's in the cave. He's in a crapshoot. He's got 400 other people in a crapshoot with him. Saul's trying to kill him. And what I was trying to get across to people is, you are in where you are. God's providence, God's eternal decree, his sovereignty. He's in control. God meant you to go through this for your good. And so that those couple of lines popped in my mind, and I preached it. I forgot to say it was from John Piper. I didn't even think about it until after the sermon was done. Did I plagiarize? I didn't mean to. If I did, it wasn't on my mind.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't think anyone could tell you where that line is, like in verbal speech. Now, maybe when it comes to writing, maybe, I don't know, but at least in verbal speech, I don't know where that line. I don't know if anyone could articulate to me what the line is conscionably.
Yeah.
But let's say you're writing. Well, let's say you're writing something down. We're going to write something down, and it's in this book, in this chapter, whatever. Maybe it's the same phraseology, different rendering. Maybe it's a reverse sentence structure. I don't know, bro. Like, honestly, you asked a good question that I don't quite have an answer for.
Yeah. I think someone in the comments will have answers.
Someone's gonna say I plagiarized John Piper last Sunday.
Yeah.
Man. Like, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I think someone in the comments is gonna have answers. No, I seen real time, man, where pastors or elders in the same congregation kind of check one another over that topic, you know. So I seen it real time. That's why I kind of threw it out there. And then, you know, with the use of chat, if you don't proofread or whatever, it may, you know, you just have to be careful, man. And I guess let's go back to where I think you were going earlier. You told you not to forget before. Did you forget?
Yeah. No, I got you. So, like, just two things, because I want to talk about, like, the antithesis of all this, like how
Sure.
it can be used for evil. I was at work one day. I was working with my coworker, my friend Braden, and for those of you who don't know, I'm a meat cutter. I'm a butcher. So, you know, we talk theology while we're cutting up pigs in the morning. And we were talking about chat, and we were talking about how we were having this kind of conversation, and I was like, Braden, you are you familiar with the Pelagian heresy, like where it talks about how Jesus is the first created being? And he goes, yeah, announced like back in the early church. He goes, yeah, let's see if I can have chat create a convincing argument for that heresy. Dude, it did, and it was scary. It was scary. It made it sound so real. It made it sound so biblical and orthodox. It was saying, like, later in the 3rd century, Irenaeus and all of it. It was crazy. And it just made me think, it's like ChatGPT is 100% a tool. You can make it do and say anything you want. You really can. And so one of the things that I'm working on personally, and then something that I'm working on with the pastors of my church, we want to formulate a statement about artificial intelligence for the church. We kind of want to just be ahead of the game in that way, not just for the pastors and the elders and the preachers within our own congregation, but when we invite somebody in too, we want to be able to say we have these standards. We just don't want to mess with it. And so something that I'm creating is I'm creating a ecumenical document, basically a cross-denominational document of a Christian ethic for artificial intelligence, for like Bible study, sermon prep, and other stuff that we're talking about, like authorship and Bible studies, discipleship, and everything else like that. But I'm writing it from my Reformed Baptist perspective. Now, Pastor Drew, he's the associate pastor. He's really awesome. Pastor Drew, if you're listening to this, yes, I'm using AI to help me write this. I'm sorry. Pastor Drew is not a fan of artificial intelligence. I love him. He loves me. I don't think I'm going to be put under church discipline for this, but we're going to be all right.
We'll see.
But I am trying to formulate a statement that eventually, when it's all done, I'm going to have my pastors look over it, and if they approve it, I'm going to put it out there on my social media for free. I just want people to have it. I want to try to be a voice. Ironically, man, I'm kind of going to be a more liberal voice in a very conservative arena. That's the only time I'm ever saying that, by the way. That's the only time liberals come out of my mouth. Please
don't cut that up.
But
liberal voice in a conservative.
Someone's gonna clip that.
Someone's
gonna clip that. Listen, I have the confession right behind me. Okay.
Nah, legit. No, man, that's cool. You know, it's funny that you said that you're using it to help. I actually received an email today to go over we're working on a different app, and so they want us to go over the document, and it specifically says, please do not copy and paste and summarize. Please read through each line specifically. And I was like, why are y'all talking to me? Because I was that's my go-to, man. Like I ain't got time. You know what I'm saying? Like, summarize me, please. But yeah, no, it spelled out. I was like, please do not copy, paste, summarize, read through each line. I was like, all right, bet. But I like it because it's adaptive. It notice what's available, and it don't demonize it. It just says, hey, we want more attention on this than something that chat might miss. So yeah, no, I wanted to throw that out there. And one more thing before we get ready to slide is I saw a clip of a professor that on his exam he put in white text, like he had they had to do like uh you had to do like a synopsis or whatever of a topic, and so it was 2 paragraphs was the topic, and in the middle of the 2 paragraphs in white text he says, say something about a movie that doesn't make sense throughout this whole synopsis. So they couldn't see it,
Oh,
pasted it in chat, give me, and every few lines it says something about Madagascar. That's what it was. It was like,
oh shoot.
it put Madagascar throughout the whole summary in just odd places, and that's how he knew who used chat, man. So I
That's
like that kind of stuff.
that's smart, man.
Yeah.
That's smart. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like that, man, because we gotta, although we use tools, we gotta be responsible. We don't want to use it as a cheating or cheat code or whatever. And so anytime we can outsmart the machine, I'm on I'm for it, man. I'm for it. What you got, man, before we get out of here?
Look,
got nothing?
well, so I just there's so much more we could do. We just don't have the time to do it. I will say this: I run a business, personal training business. I use ChatGPT for a lot of analytics, client tracking, all of that. I create personalized apps for people. When it comes to the church, when it comes to the Lord's Day, when it comes to worshiping the Lord on a Sunday morning with your people, we are on a whole different playing. That's a whole different field of play. Okay, there are rules. There's discernment, there's wisdom, there's knowledge in that, but then there's also the regulative principle of worship, and we need to make sure that we are not forsaking the ordinary means of grace and everything else in that way. There's entrepreneurship Monday through Saturday, and then there's the Lord's Day. There is a stark divide when it comes to AI in that regard.
I like it. That's a good ending. We out of here.